Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in. And today we're going to talk about what is the real reason that this Bears offense continues to struggle despite all of the changes, despite things that have happened over this offseason. I'm not going to make an intro, but we are 3 games into this Bears season. The things that were plaguing us in years past are the same things that are plaguing us so far within 3 games this year. While granted, yes, we do have a new offensive system and a new offensive staff. Granted, we do have a new quarterback, the Justin Fields and Caleb Williams debate, which I will touch on a little bit in this video, that is still happening. Granted, we have weapons in Keenan Allen. We have DJ Moore. We have Odunze, who had a very good game yesterday. Swift. There are some other things with this Bears offense that are still wrong despite all of those changes, and I'm going to get into that in this video. Now, the Bears offensively, they just have not looked good despite gaining 395 total yards of offense in week 3 against the Colts. Despite this team having 26 first down, the one thing that still plagues us, turnovers. Turnovers killed us yesterday, which I will not get too much deeper into. I'll leave my reaction video to the Colts game in the cards. Turnovers, bad mistakes, play calling, all that. I will touch on a few things that I see wrong and leave you guys thoughts in the comments and see if you agree with me with these opinions or not of what I've seen. I can only give you guys the things that I see from my perspective and my knowledge of this team and my knowledge of this roster in football versus what you guys see. If you see something different, let me know. But the first thing that I see wrong with the Chicago Bears offense is that I don't see these players being put in the best positions to succeed. Number one, as much as the Bears paid DeAndre Swift, so far in these 3 games, it just doesn't look like he fits in this Bears offense. Now, he's coming from Philly. He's coming from Detroit, where he had solid offensive line play. Now, when we're talking about this Bears offensive line, it doesn't look good. And I think DeAndre Swift, to me, I think he's still a talented back. But when we're talking about the things that the Bears need to accomplish with this Shane Ranger offense that he needs to do, it just seems like he does not fit in this. I'm only giving my first 3 game assessment. It just seems like he doesn't fit. Now, Roshan Johnson is a guy who personally I was clamoring for to play more throughout these first 3 games. And he played more this past Sunday, week 3, and it looked like it was the right decision to play Roshan Johnson because I've always felt, number one, he's a very physical runner. He runs hard with the football. He's always falling forward. And he's solid in pass protecting. So I wanted them to give Roshan more of an opportunity and give Khalil more of an opportunity. I think we're seeing that those 2 backs can get the job done. Now, they're not, I don't think as a talent level as a DeAndre Swift. It just seems like whatever DeAndre Swift has done, it just doesn't fit what this Bears offense, it doesn't fit what they're trying to do, at least in these first 3 games. It just doesn't look right. And another reason that I can blame the Bears, or blame goes to the Bears for this offense, is 2, I think the Bears did not address the elephant in the room, and that is improving within his offensive line. Now, Braxton Jones' late round pick, which the Bears have a history of getting late round picks at left tackle, whether it was Jamarcus Webb, whether it was Charles Leno Jr., we have a big history of getting late round picks at left tackle, and we've seen with Braxton Jones, I just don't see what has the Bears' thoughts of he could be the better left tackle for this offense. It doesn't seem like it so far. It just really doesn't. And the one thing I blame Ryan Poles is failing to invest in that. And that goes into a deeper problem, which I will also get into a little bit later. It just doesn't seem like we have solidified on this offensive line. Another reason that the Bears' offense has struggled is play calling. Now, especially like I said in the reaction on that 4th down situation, I think it was late in the second half where we had opportunity to get points on the board when we came away with nothing, was we don't run the football enough out of under the center quarterback. We run too many plays out of shotgun, which when you're talking about running the football, especially with the offensive line that the Bears have, you run the football consistently out of shotgun, you're not going to be but only so productive. It's not like the Bears have a Derrick Henry. It's not like the Bears have a Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. It's not like the Bears have a powerful offensive line like we see in Detroit, a powerful offensive line like we've seen in Dallas over the years, a powerful offensive line like we see in Philly. The Bears don't have that, and when you run an option on 4th and goal with a quarterback like Caleb Williams, which I will get into a little bit later, is some of the problems, that he's not a threat to really run the football like we see a Fields, like we see a Lamar Jackson, like we see a Jalen Hurts. That makes it so much easy to stop. Speaking on that 4th down play in general, when we look at it, this Bears offensive line are all on the ground of the fact that they're just, number one, getting out physical. Number two, they are just getting blown off of the football. They're not sustaining block. Pass protection wasn't also great yesterday, and that's another reason that ties into it is Caleb Williams does have a tendency to hold the football just a little bit too long, and he needs to be quicker with his decision making. Now, I'm one that always say be patient. It takes time. It takes time for an offense to things together. It takes time for a quarterback, especially one of Caleb Williams' talent and one of Caleb Williams' development that he still needs despite all the talent. It's going to take time for him to get used to that NFL. We got to get the football quickly. You cannot make those same throws that you did in USC, that you did at Oklahoma. You cannot make those same throws. We saw that on the second interception. But I want to personally point out the biggest reason that the Bears have not had success, despite me having blame for everybody involved, whether it's Waldron, whether it's Poles for not investing, whether it's the play calling. I think it's a lot of things, but I think the main reason that a lot of Bears fans may not know and may not even think about, offensive line coach Chris Morton. Now, he's been here. This is his 3rd year and under the Matt Eberflus regime. And it just seems like this offensive line, no matter who the quarterback is, just does not get any better. I think, number one, it has bad coaching where, number one, we don't have communication on our offensive line. Whether it's picking up blitzes, whether it's communicating in the run game, whether it's being more physical in the interior, whether it's blocking scheme-wise or getting the right person to block. I blame so much of that on this offensive line coach, Chris Morton. Now, we all know that the Bears offensive line isn't talented to begin with, but when you put bad, not so great talent with, I personally think, bad coaching, these are the results you're going to get from an offensive line, because you can't physically run the football up the middle, and I blame some of that on the scheme, but I also blame some of that on, I think, Waldron not trusting the Bears' interior of the offensive line to be physical and run the football. The Bears cleaned house mainly a lot of offensive staff last season, and it's surprising to see the one problem that the Bears have had over the, I want to say even longer probably than the past 3 years, is the offensive line coach, which I think should have been the biggest change outside of Luke Getty ending last season. A lot of Bears fans probably don't know that name, or if some do. Chris Morton as this offensive line coach, I personally think has got to go, because some of the adjustments that this offensive line fails to make, I think, is because of coaching. Now, we can talk about the Caleb Williams and Justin Fields debate, which I still see going on. I'm going to get into that because, albeit Justin Fields, a lot of Bears fans said he was the problem. I was one on this channel, and you can go back through my history, that said the biggest problem was not Fields. The biggest problem, Fields had a bit to do with it, but it was not the biggest problem. We still had offensive line problem, which we still have now. We had weapons problem, which we spent a little bit of an assets to get some of that. The offensive line and the play calling have been the biggest problems with this Bears offense. We still see it now. Caleb Williams is under a ton of pressure. He got sacked 4 more times, which leads the total to 13 sacks for this Bears team over the first 3 games. Your quarterback rookie cannot develop when he's getting sacked 13 times because your offensive line fails to pick up blitzes and identify blitzes and communicate some of those blitzes. 2, they fail to really run the football extremely well. And I think Justin Fields' leg in this system would have been a big help behind a bad offensive line. Technically, I am one that says the Bears still should have kept Justin, because we did not invest in our offensive line. We did not invest in coaching for our offensive line, which means the problems will remain the same. And I think once this offensive line either scraps coaching or scraps some of the unit that we have, and Nate Davis is a big problem in that, then I think we'll start to see some improvement in this offense, because we just did not invest in the offensive line at all, whether it's coaching, or whether it's pieces and player-wise. That is the biggest problem. Quarterback Justin Fields has looked efficient in Pittsburgh. He's looked better in Pittsburgh because he has better coaching. He's not being asked to be the franchise savior like he was here in Chicago, and like Caleb Williams is being asked to do, was to save this franchise. And I've always said, you cannot depend on a quarterback to be the franchise savior. You have to build around him. The Bears have the weapons, but the problem is the offensive line was not invested into, whether it was coaching standpoint, whether it was a player's standpoint. It still looks the absolute same. And I think until we make changes on those offensive line, coaching-wise and staff-wise, we're going to get the same results of not being able to run the football, not being able to protect, and just not being an efficient offense. Even though Caleb Williams still has improvement to do, and I think he will do that with time, with better protection and better blocking. Once those things get really solved, then we'll start to see this Bears offense improve. But hey, those are my thoughts. I just wanted to get this a bit out of the way because a lot of Bears fans on Twitter or Facebook or whatever has been clamoring that Fields and all that. But I've always said the Bears should have kept Fields. The Bears should have invested in the offensive line, and we should have invested in better coaching. I don't know. We still have a little bit of time with Shane Waldron. We shall see. He didn't run the ball a lot in Seattle, and it looks likely he doesn't run the ball a lot here, which I think is the problem. But this Bears offense still sucks. Still has the exact same problems. Whatever we had last year, everything is still the same. Still sucks, but it is what it is. Hopefully things get better. We shall see. I'll catch you guys later.